Dream team for Super Rugby round 15. Lots of choices. Some teams particularly had to make a whole heap of tackles. So they kind of, in some regards, got preferable treatment. Other teams, Rebels, I'm looking at you, scored a whole lot of points, but overall, pretty good round. I've gone ahead and picked 15 as always. It's kind of a fantasy team, so it's not strictly a 1 to 15 position for position match, but these are 15 guys who impressed me at the weekend. Start with props. I've gone with Santiago Medrano from the Jaguares. He is a pretty impressive young prop. He had very good numbers this week. 12 runs for 20 meters. Excellent work rate for a prop. A pass, just the one pass. So he ran 12 times, passed once. That's prop-like logic. If anyone is going to demonstrate it, that's it. 13 out of 13 tackles is, again, excellent work rate. Managed the turnover, and key point, not a single penalty conceded for a prop. That's a pretty good effort. And I've also gone with another tight head, an Alan Alatoa from the Brumbies. Also not a single penalty conceded, so their forward pack is really fronting up. 5 runs for 20 meters is, again, very good numbers for a prop. Even had a clean break, which is disgraceful for a guy in the number 3 jersey. 2 passes, 9 from 9 tackles. Both guys had very similar games. Racked up 20 run meters. Made a whole heap of tackles without missing. Didn't concede a penalty. Pretty happy with those guys. Hooker, I have gone with Hugh Roach. I was going to say from the Waratahs, but he is now a Rebel, obviously. 8 runs, 12 meters. That's pretty decent. 4 passes, 5 out of 5 tackles. I like the fact that he had 2 turnovers, which is excellent effort as well, because that seems to be a thing with a lot of the hookers, at least in recent years, that they seem to be built for turnovers as much as an open side. And the Rebels had a whole heap of lineouts to throw. I think they had 20 plus in this game. Overall, 91% for the Rebels over all those lineouts. So for the most part, they're pretty good lineout operators. So Hugh Roach, with Jordan Uelisi on his shoes as well, now that he's back fit, put in a good shift. So they've got Rangi as well. So the Rebels are certainly pretty well stocked for guys in the number 2 jersey. Second row, I've gone with Cobus Visa. He had a very, very good game for the Stormers. 6 runs, 4 meters is not a whole lot, but he managed to try within those 4 meters. A very good supporting line. He ran behind, I think it was Dylan Lades. He had a defender beaten, he had a clean break. How you get a clean break when you only had to run 4 meters? Not sure, but I guess it was the try. 2 passes, 11 out of 12 tackles. Also managed the turnover. And 5 line-out takes, so very good effort all round from him. Capped off with the try, of course. Other luck, I've gone with Tyler Ardron from the Chiefs. They had a very good defensive effort against the Reds. His other locking partner was equally effective, but I've gone with Tyler. He had 5 runs for 13 meters, beat a defender, had 6 passes, and he does have good hands for a guy who usually plays either second or back row. 17 out of 17 tackles is pretty good, although in that game, nowhere near the highest guy for tackles, and 5 line-out takes. So, athletic guy. Chiefs are lucky to have him. Very good import player for them, and he's been effective this year and last year as well. Next, from the Bulls, a losing team, I've gone with Hunter Liebenberg. In a losing team, like I said, he still racked up some pretty good numbers. He had 4 runs, 16 meters, so decent return per run. Also had a clean break, managed to try, which was a real forwards effort. 17 out of 18 tackles. Again, in most games that looks pretty high. If you're in that Chiefs game, it's not that high, but for every other game it's high. He also had 3 line-out takes, so kind of a bit of Mr. Everywhere man in that game. I've also gone with Gus Sawakula from the Chiefs. Now, if you want tackles, he is your guy this week. So 7 runs for 31 meters is very good, forgetting about his tackles. So just on its own, that's very good. He had a defender beaten and 2 clean breaks. Amongst that, he also scored a try. He had 2 passes, including an offload. He managed the turnover. He had a line-out take, but 25 out of 26 tackles. He missed 1. 25 tackles is a whole lot of tackles. So, again, the Chiefs made a whole lot of tackles. Boshier made a whole lot of tackles. Kane made a whole lot of tackles. And in terms of turnovers, those guys got more than him. I think they had 3 each, Kane and Boshier. So, they could equally be here on as well. But I gone with Sol Kula because he had that go forward with the ball, which Boshier and Kane kind of lacked. But he also had tackles galore, number 1 in that game. Very, very good effort. Lastly, I have gone with Matt Todd from the Crusaders. He had 1 run for 4 meters, which again is not all that impressive, but 5 passes, 16 out of 16 tackles. Now, when you put it up against that 25, it doesn't look that good, but you got to take it into the context of that game. The next best Crusader against the Blues had 9 tackles. Todd had 16. So he was far and above their best defensive guy in that game, just gone against the Blues. Into the backs, I've gone with the Stormer and Herschel Yankees. This guy looks pretty good. 3 runs, 37 meters is again a good return. He also has 5 kicks and 74 passes. So the majority of his game, he's sticking to his core role as a number 9. But when he does the others, he's doing them all right. He had an offload among those passes as well. Somehow managed to beat 4 defenders, but he is a pretty nippy runner, so you do have to be wary of him because he will beat you if he runs at you and you're not careful. 2 clean breaks, a try assist, and a try. 3 out of 4 tackles and a turnover. So, yeah. I liked Dewalt Duvanaka when he was at the Stormers last year, but I'm pretty happy watching Yankees as well. He is a very, very good player. Fly half, first 5. I've gone with Quade Cooper, and it was a hard one this week. It was hard. Could have gone with some other guys like Liliafano, really ran the show for the Brumbies, but he missed so many of his kicks. Mo'unga got a lot of kicks, but overall that game was pretty scrappy, so it was hard to kind of flow. But I've gone with Cooper again. He wasn't perfect, but 3 runs, 2 meters is not the most running performances from him, but his passing was really on point. He still managed to beat a defender. 22 passes, managed 2 try assists. 14 tackles for Quade Cooper is phenomenal. 14 tackles, only missed 1. A turnover, 6 out of 8 conversions. He did cough the ball up twice, so again, not perfect, but I thought for him, a pretty good shift. Midfield, I've gone with a Jaguares player. I've gone with Geronimo De La Fuente. He's just class, man. I really like him. 4 runs, 31 meters, beat a defender, had a clean break, 15 passes, including 2 try assists. Guess how many tries the Jaguares scored? 11 out of 12 tackles, so defensively very sound, and also managed the turnover. The guy just does everything. He's not the fastest, not the strongest, not going to beat the most, but he's going to do everything really, really well. I really like him. Next, I've also gone with Tavita Kurandrani from the Brumbies. He had 7 runs for 37 meters. Beat 2 defenders, 3 clean breaks, 1 pass, 7 out of 8 tackles, but also 3 tries. Yeah, that guy was everywhere. Good effort from him. Long night for the Bulls, but yeah, he. If you look at him and Karevi, that's a pretty solid midfield. I mean, they might have a little bit of defensive frailties. I mean, 7 out of 8 tackles is pretty good. Karevi's tackling seems to improve this year, but man, they're going to hurt you with the ball. Very, very much so. Next, I have gone with Marika Korobidi from the Rebels. 8 runs, 88 meters, very good. Beat a defender, 2 clean breaks, 2 passes, had a try assist, which he could have gone for a try. He got 2 tries of his own. He had a turnover as well, 10 out of 12 tackles, and defensively he's been criticised as well, so a good effort for the most part there. Yeah, he could have had a hat-trick of his own, really, but he unselfishly passed and let somebody else canter in, so I think it was Daniel Hilipeti. Yep, long night for the Sunwolves up against him. I've gone with 3 wingers this week, so the other one, well, one of the other ones is Makazola Mpimpi from the Sharks. The Sharks used a bit of counter-punching to win their game, and one of those key moments was Mpimpi. So he had 4 runs for 95 meters, and the majority of those meters would have been in 1 run because it was pretty much a length of the field try. It showed some real gas. 1 try, like I said, 6 from 6 tackles. Also managed 2 turnovers, which was the number 1 guy for the Sharks. But in terms of key moments, that's about as key as it gets for the Sharks. And lastly, as my daughter cries in the background, I've gone with Mojano from the Jaguares. He had 7 runs for 41 meters and also always looks very dangerous. Beat 5 defenders. He's the number 1 guy this week in terms of defenders beaten. He's not a big guy. He's just such an elusive runner. 2 clean breaks, 2 tries, 5 out of 5 tackles. The guy is class. So him and De La Fuente make a pretty good team. When you look at that back 3, it hasn't been Delgui because he's been injured, but Delgui, Boffelli, and Mojano, it's very, very nice. But they've had guys like Cancellieri, Carreras come in. They've certainly got depth in that back 3, do the Jaguares. But yes, those are my 15 guys. There are many, many others that I didn't pick this week. You guys will have to let me know your thoughts as to who else I could have had. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.